Welcome to Updraft. We specialize in document automation, contract drafting, and document management services. Our solutions are used by legal, procurement, and HR professionals looking to simplify their business processes and securely store and manage their contracts and all other legal documents. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate the full scope of the system functionality that Updraft offers. For more information on our software, services, bespoke solutions, or any other specific aspect of the functionality we will be demonstrating in this video, please visit our website originsystems.co.za.
Welcome to Updraft. This demonstration will give you an overview of Updraft's powerful solutions and how you can use them in your own business to optimize your legal drafting, compliance, and risk management functions. Updraft is a cloud-based solution, so users can securely log in from anywhere at any time. On accessing the client console, you'll arrive at your personalized inbox. This is your action page, containing your to-do list and all alerts that have been sent to you for contract deadlines and transactions that you manage. To ensure that you don't miss any of these important deadlines, Updraft also sends an alert via email to your ordinary Outlook inbox, with details of the deadline and a link back to the Updraft console so that you can begin working immediately. Reminders are color-coded to reflect their urgency. You can see a description of the task, as well as its deadline. To work on a task, you don't have to go hunting for all the related documentation. Just click on the document description and you'll be provided with a full history of the transaction, including all agreement versions, notes, and supporting documents, as well as who is responsible for creating them. By clicking on the interview log icon, you can also see the instructions that led to each version of a document. So you can start working immediately, knowing that you have the full picture. From this screen, you can also access powerful functions that are available for each transaction. We're going to touch on these a little later, so let's skip over them for now so that we can focus on the award-winning drafting capabilities that make Updraft so unique. Whether you're drafting a new document or uploading an existing document to Updraft, it all happens on the Document tab of the Updraft console. It's important to realize that before releasing its software to a client, Updraft engages in a legal management consultancy process that ensures that the software is configured to the client's unique circumstances and requirements. The client's branding, company precedents, compliance requirements, and unique business processes are therefore all integrated with the system before it's released as a turnkey solution, ready for immediate use within the business. So what you're seeing here is really just one illustration of how an Updraft console might look. The available documents are listed in the menu down the left of the screen. This menu is tailored to each client's unique documents and business functions, so it would ordinarily contain the company's precedents that they work with on a day-to-day basis. To draft or upload a document, simply select the appropriate menu category, and then click on the document type that you'd like to work with. When you click on the name of the document, you'll be given the option to either draft the document or file it through an upload process. We want to draft a new service provider agreement, so I select the draft option. The drafting interview starts automatically. The first page of the interview is the introduction screen. It gives you a sense of the information you'll need to draft your document. You'll notice the Updraft reference number, or URN, in the right-hand corner of the screen. It's the unique numeric identifier generated for every document, and it allows for easy identification and retrieval of documents. Click the Next button to proceed with the interview. You can start a questionnaire at any time, and you needn't finish it all in one go. If you're waiting for further information, or you're running late for a meeting, you can simply pause and continue whenever you're ready. What's more, if your session accidentally terminates, like in the event of a power outage, then the system will automatically register the interruption as a pause and you'll be prompted to resume the questionnaire when you log back in. In both cases, you'll be able to pick up with the drafting questionnaire at the exact point at which you left off. You'll always have a sense of where you are in the process because the time bar reflects an estimate of the time remaining to completion. Users also have support throughout the questionnaire. If you're uncertain about what a question means, you can click on the Help icon for more information, or just float over the question for a helpful hint. Wherever possible, Updraft makes it easy to capture information. Calendars are used for dates, and data can be checked as it's inputted. Your business rules can also be applied to ensure that only permissible responses are given. For example, in this field, we've imposed a business rule that requires the service providers to have at least 2 million rands worth of indemnity cover. If I insert a lesser value, I am prevented from continuing with the interview. These types of restrictions are customized for each client and are dependent on your compliance requirements. We can also customize the questionnaires with bespoke business information, such as lists of business divisions that allow you to sort agreements and to drive appropriate sign-off processes. Let's step through the remainder of the questionnaire so that we can get a sense of the process end to end. For the purposes of this illustration, I've pre-populated the answers to save us some time. One of the most significant advantages of the questionnaire process is that a range of information can automatically be injected into the contract by making a simple choice. The questionnaire process means that a single selection, such as which group company is contracting, can trigger a broad range of changes to the underlying contract. Apart from the obvious consequences that the company's details are injected into the contract, the choice can dynamically determine the language of the contract, which clauses are included, the governing law, legislative references, and jurisdiction-specific compliance and sign-off processes. If you like, you can apply the same approach to your regular suppliers, so that their details and any pre-negotiated provisions are automatically applied. For the purposes of this illustration, however, I'll choose the catch-all option. I'm now asked for further details of the service provider. The questions I'm asked are determined by my previous answers, so that I only need to answer the minimum number of questions, and all of them are relevant. As I progress, Updraft is busy working silently in the background to build a contract customized to the unique circumstances of the transaction. It achieves this by analyzing my answers and then applying snippets of text, full clauses, and legal conclusions that are triggered by the specific situation. Here's a useful illustration of that. By asking the gender of the contract signatory, Updraft is able to adapt all of the pronouns used in the document to make them gender-specific. Another benefit of Updraft's questionnaires is that they allow you to capture data which, although not strictly required to draft the agreement, is essential for reporting and compliance purposes. Our clients have found that it's much easier to collect this information at the point of contracting, rather than relying on staff to upload it at a later stage. In this example, we're collecting Black economic empowerment information, but this could also be applied to anti-bribery data, compliance or audit requirements, and to performance reporting. Updraft also engages with your risk management processes. For example, if your business wishes to receive alerts of any high-risk or high-value contracts which are being entered into, this can happen automatically. In the present example, an alert is triggered if the service provider will be dealing with government or applying for key licenses on behalf of the business, thereby triggering anti-bribery concerns. By answering yes, the compliance department will be alerted that they must review this contract, and a notice will appear on the resultant contract that it may not be finalized until the service provider has been vetted and approved. We ask simple factual questions to determine which duration clauses should appear in the contract, and Updraft automatically tracks all important deadline dates. To avoid human error, Updraft also incorporates formulae that automatically calculate and store key dates, such as contract expiries or renewal dates. Similarly, embedded formulae use the remuneration details given in the questionnaire to calculate the total value of the contract over its full period, which can in turn drive the transaction approval process. As previously mentioned, the process dynamically adapts the contract to its jurisdiction. For instance, contracts for use in Angola or Mozambique must be available in Portuguese. Therefore, if I were to select Angola as the location at which the services will be rendered, I can make use of Updraft's translation abilities to receive the contract in Portuguese. Updraft also prevents the omission of important annexures. These are either automatically inserted or drafted as part of the process. If the contractor will be working at your premises, we'll automatically include further documents and agreements to ensure that you're adequately protected against occupational injuries. No further work is required from the legal or compliance departments because data is automatically injected. Similarly, site rules will automatically be inserted into the agreement based on the office or facility at which the contractor will be performing their work. The final questions in this particular questionnaire are aimed at determining whether or not the service provider falls within the tax definition applicable within the jurisdiction concerned. It triggers a range of additional reporting and compliance elements in this transaction. Obviously, this questionnaire is adapted for a particular legal jurisdiction, but it's important to remember that Updraft is configured for each client, and that means that the specific rules and regulations applied in your country will be incorporated into the questionnaire. What you've just seen is just one example of how this is done. Once you've completed the questionnaire, simply click Save. Before generating the agreement, Updraft gives you a chance to review all the important events that have been automatically captured during the questionnaire. You also have an opportunity to add bespoke events. Simply click on the calendar icon. This shows you all of the recorded events and a list of who will receive notifications. To add a new event, simply click on the plus sign. Select the date, the type of event, and add a description, as you'd like it to appear in the notification email. Add the required grace period, and then select the required recipients from the list of users provided. These users will all receive both an email reminder and a new notification in their Updraft console, alerting them to the new event you've created. Once you're satisfied that all the correct notifications will be sent to the right people, click Next. The resultant agreement has been created in both Microsoft Word and PDF. The two versions are identical. Who sees which is down to the security privileges of the particular user. To view the document, simply click on the one you want and it'll download to your desktop. This particular agreement starts with an introduction page, which sets out which supporting documents are required once the contract has been signed. The document also explains how to go about signing an agreement, as this is something that people often seem to have trouble with. The document pack then summarizes the sign-off procedure applicable to this particular contract. The data captured during the drafting questionnaire is used to define the exact sign-off process to be followed. And so, instead of staff having to understand and follow generic and complex sign-off processes that apply to all business documents, they are provided with a transaction-specific and clear process that is defined by the exact terms of the agreement. In this context, no one can ever say that they didn't know who had to sign off on the transaction. To record the sign-off process, we can also include internal contract review and sign-off sheets. Alternatively, we can trigger an internal sign-off process that includes an automated workflow and electronic signature from all participants. To speed up the sign-off process, the document pack includes an executive summary of the material terms of the agreement, with key clauses extracted directly from the contract. All of this is tailored to your business, and you can choose to include some, all, or none of these elements. Turning then to the contract itself. Because the contract is created in Microsoft Word, it's a Word document with all the normal functionality you'd expect, except with the added benefit of clean formatting and automatic cross-referencing. You can track changes and make use of the full range of Microsoft Word's functionality. I'm going to scroll through the agreement quickly, as the content isn't too important for our demonstration, but it's worth highlighting that all the signatory information has already been completed, and the annexures are all included, customized, and labeled. The unique document reference number created by the questionnaire process has also been automatically injected into the footer of the contract, together with the date of creation. The PDF version is exactly the same, but can't be edited. It can be safely sent to a third party for signature. Once you've finished with the interview process, simply click the Home button to return to the Updraft console. Before continuing with the demonstration, let's just take a moment to consider what you've seen so far. Instead of allowing the business indiscriminate access to freely editable company precedents or clause libraries, Updraft allows staff to trigger a secure, online drafting questionnaire that collects a complete set of drafting instructions for the document they need. The questions asked are determined by previous answers and the specifics and nature of the unique transaction concerned. Because the drafting interview is defined by the client's own legal department, Updraft is able to draw legal conclusions in background, checking for legislation or business rules that impact on the transaction, inserting appropriate clauses, and applying the client's sign-off and compliance rules. By the end of the drafting interview, our award-winning document generation engine has compiled a fully completed bespoke contract tailored to the exact transaction concerned. The process ordinarily takes less than 15 minutes, which means that staff very quickly come to realize that the fastest and easiest way to get the agreement they need is through the Updraft software. As every agreement is created within the system, every transaction is recorded and stored, together with all the information that created it. The collection of reporting and compliance information is no longer an administrative hassle. It's simply an intrinsic part of the drafting process. The legal department is finally given proper control and oversight. And it's as a result of these very fundamental differences that Updraft has been recognized as a global leader in contract drafting and management solutions. You see, it's one of the only software solutions in the world that doesn't make use of cumbersome clause libraries. Clause libraries require users to piece their contracts together by making repeated selections from lists or libraries of available clauses. Because the correct choice of a legal clause can only be safely made by a lawyer, these systems don't free up the legal team in any way. What's more, many lawyers find that having to repeatedly read all of the available clauses takes longer than simply drafting the agreements from scratch, which means that the systems often lie dormant. Updraft's intuitive decision tree questionnaires can easily be completed by non-lawyers, which means that your legal department doesn't have to waste time trying to get proper drafting instructions from the broader business. In fact, staff don't even need to log into the system, because a link to a drafting or upload questionnaire can be embedded into an email, an internet page, or your company's intranet portal. Here's an example of an intranet page containing Updraft links. This process allows anyone in the business to request a new agreement by stepping through a questionnaire process that is exactly the same as the one we saw a moment ago. At the end of the process, the person using the link can receive either a lockdown PDF version of the agreement or simply a message confirming that the instructions have been received and that the responsible person or department will revert within a specified period. A pre-selected system user will then receive an email notifying them that a new agreement is awaiting their attention. They can see the drafting instructions and can make any necessary changes to the agreement before sending it to the requester. This process makes gathering instructions really simple, efficient, and secure. It also empowers the wider business to provide proper drafting instructions and to contribute to the drafting of their own agreements in a controlled, quick, and easily understood way. To grant access to Updraft questionnaires on a more casual basis, you can also embed links into an email, like this. This allows for links to be sent on request, and the process followed by the recipient when they click on the link is exactly the same as the one we saw earlier. We still need to touch on how you upload existing documents to the Updraft console. So let's head back to the console to see how that process works. You'll remember that we started a drafting process by selecting the document we needed from the menu categories and then clicking on the Draft option. To upload an existing document, you simply select the File option. The process is very similar to the one followed when you draft a document, except in this case, Updraft is using the questionnaire to collect valuable reporting and contract management information of relevance to the document you're uploading. This data will be used to provide you with reporting, analytics, and contract lifecycle management. The one significant difference is that at the end of the questionnaire, Updraft won't be drafting a document. You will instead be prompted to attach and describe the file you're uploading, like this. When you return to the document view, you'll see the uploaded document at the top of the document list. To distinguish them from draft documents, all uploaded documents are displayed in grey text. You've now seen how to use Updraft to both draft and store your documents. For every document stored in Updraft's document repository, there's a broad range of management functions available. You can amend agreements using the Update function, and this also allows you to upload externally edited or signed versions of the document. Your reporting information can also be edited using this function. Every line in the central contract repository is essentially an electronic transaction folder containing all of the details and documents for the transaction. It's a bit like a LeverArch file that you would otherwise have had to store in your filing cabinet, except it's paperless, much more efficient, and really easy to use. You can easily add notes to the transaction, and all supporting documents can also be uploaded in a single step. For instance, you may want to upload your email exchange with the counterparties to the agreement, or any other documentation of relevance. By clicking on the calendar icon, you can view all event notifications for a particular agreement. You can also see exactly which staff members will be receiving each of the reminders, and when. To send a specific reminder to a colleague or a group of colleagues, you can click on the Add button and then complete the particulars of the alert you want to send, as we did earlier. In addition, you can define and change the state or stage that a transaction has reached. Updraft allows you to set up the stages through which each of your transactions pass. This might differ depending on the type of contract involved. As a transaction progresses, you can track its progress. As it moves from one stage to the next, system alerts can be sent to predefined individuals, and consolidated system reports give you a real-time oversight of the stages reached in all of your transactions. Before long, you'll have thousands of agreements stored in Updraft. But don't worry, finding them is easy. I can filter and find my documents by using a broad range of criteria. For instance, I might want to see only my service provider agreements. I could further limit my results by searching on the document description, which would normally be the parties to the particular agreement. But what sets Updraft apart is that it allows you to search and filter on any of the drafting instructions you gave during the questionnaire process. The unique data that comprises the drafting instructions is really what sets one document apart from another. You can search and filter on any single element of data. You could even use postal codes, telephone numbers, representative names or registration numbers to find and sort documents. You can also filter your results based on whether the agreement is still a draft or whether it has been signed, what stage a particular contract is in, or who the owner is. If you have the agreement in front of you and you want to review the history, or if you're looking for an agreement flagged in a report, simply search on the URN number. In the demonstration so far, we've looked at transactions and their data in isolation. However, Updraft completely understands that documents don't exist in a vacuum. Transactions, projects, and litigation matters can run for many years. Documents can be intertwined in a complex matrix of interrelationships, compliance, and process flows. A system that fails to recognize and manage these realities simply can't meet the demands of an agile, process-driven business environment. Updraft's case functionality brings you an incredibly powerful range of management tools that allow you to create workflows, manage projects and cases, customize your sign-off processes, and build links between your transaction and project documents. You can reuse data to pre-populate and draft new case documents. Milestones or defined contract variables can automatically trigger next steps, and detailed case reporting allows you to see where you stand across all of your cases and projects. Updraft's case functionality is expansive and should properly form the subject matter of a separate demonstration. However, in this quick and simple illustration, you're able to see a list of cases. Each of these contains case-specific data that is automatically shared across all documents and activities created within the case. Case documents are grouped together, and any new document is automatically pre-populated with the previously captured case data. Data changes are managed in real time, and the separate case file becomes a container for your project-specific workflows, defined sign-off processes, tasks, and project management. One of the great advantages in starting your contract management at the point of creating the first draft of your contract is that you have an incredible data range of all your contracts available at the click of a button. Because information is automatically stored at the time of contracting, no further data capture is required. Updraft allows you to get in-depth insight into all of your important contract data and events across all of your documents. You have instant access to supplier, employee, and service provider databases, and data is updated in real time as contract terms change. Let's take a quick look at a service provider database covering a given period. You'll see that the resultant report is incredibly detailed and is quite literally a summary of all the important commercial terms of the service provider agreements stored on Updraft. Because the reports are created in an Excel format, you can continue processing and analyzing the data in a fully compatible format. Your data security is also ensured because every user's viewing privileges are equally applied within the reports, so that a user will only see report information that they are entitled to see. You're also able to build your own reports. These can include any range of data you decide on, and you can also filter the transactions you'd like included in the report. When you're done, you can save the report for future use. Updraft also offers a range of pre-packaged reports covering a broad range of topics. For example, if I want to see which of my contracts have been signed and which are still out in the business awaiting signature, I can simply pull a contracts to be signed report. Amongst other things, this allows me to see the status of each transaction, the user responsible, and the signature deadlines involved. In all cases, there's a wide range of filters that you're able to apply. For example, you can filter the data in your reports with reference to the document type, the drafting instructions given, the stage the transaction has reached, whether the contract has been signed, and the users responsible for the transaction. Sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words. If you're going to a meeting or putting together a presentation, you may need a graphic representation of your transaction data. The Graphs tab is the place to find this. Here you can see and export a broad range of graphs covering key contract data for any given period. You can also drill down into the graphs to get any further detail you might need. Once you have the image you need, you can simply export it as an image file for inclusion in your report or presentation. The final aspect of the Updraft console I'd like to show you is how we handle user rights and notifications. Users are allocated to designated security groups, and the security group they are allocated to determines which documents they can draft, file, view, amend, view in Word, attach supporting documents to, and transfer to another user. These rights can be limited to only documents created or owned by that particular user, or they can apply to members of the predetermined security group. Alternatively, they could apply across the entire business. This very granular security matrix ensures that users only ever see the documents and data they're entitled to. Similarly, the notification groups allow you to define exactly who should be notified of specific contract deadlines. You can apply fallback notification arrangements, and then add more specific routing or contract alerts based on both the documents involved and the type of deadline or event. You're also able to apply different configurations based on where in the business the contract has been created. And that brings us to the end of this high-level demonstration of the Updraft contract drafting and management system. Thank you for taking the time to view Updraft's core functionality. If you'd like more detailed information or a demonstration of some of the further features that Updraft offers, please don't hesitate to contact us.